everybody, it's Bucky with Top Dollar Home Offer. We buy houses now, Tulsa and across the metro. Today I wanted to talk to you about budgeting and how important that is. It's very vital to our business. It's very vital to our personal finances, and it gets everybody on the same page. So if you're married, if you're single, you should have a person that you can bounce ideas off in order to make sure you're prioritizing where to place your money, right? Money is often called currency, meaning that it travels wherever it wants to go. It doesn't like to sit idle, right? You get money that comes into your bank accounts. It often leaves just as quick as it comes in. So that's the importance that we see over and over when we're buying properties. We often see people in great financial stress, right? They've been in pre-foreclosure, or they're going through foreclosure, or they had a separation and they lost an income, and all of a sudden they're behind on their mortgage payments, right? It all boils down to budgeting. And one of the great pioneers and speakers of today about budgeting and saving money and putting money where it should go is Dave Ramsey. We have a lot of respect for Dave. He really breaks it down to a simple process. And we wanted to talk about a few of those things that we use from his principles, and maybe it can help benefit you, okay? So if you go to our website, topdollarhomeoffer.com, and you click on free resources, you can actually download a personal budget spreadsheet for yourself, okay? That will get you started in the right direction. One of the things that Dave talks about is having a monthly budget meeting with your household, right? Every month, we do this as a business. We have to understand our financial statements. You know, what's our profit and loss this month? What are our expenses? You have the same thing as an individual. Every month you have bills that go out. You have expenses that are happening. Some of them are reoccurring. Some of them are one-time expenses. And especially property owners, you often have unforeseen expenses that just pop up out of the blue, right? Hot water heater goes out, right? Or heat and air unit stops working. Or all of a sudden you go to flush your toilet. This happened to me the other day on my own home, right? It didn't flush, right? I thought about the strategy here. Should I go rent a clean out machine, or do I call Roto-Rooter and have an expert come out? That's what I did. Called Roto-Rooter. Next day they were out, cleaned out my drain in no time. But that was $160 some expense that if you didn't have money set aside for those pop-up expenses, where would you take it from, right? So that's the importance of a budget. We'll talk through some other scenarios here, but first thing is you need to understand the amount of income that you have coming in every month. So on this spreadsheet, and I'm showing you a fake spreadsheet here, you'll start with your expenses up here, right? We believe in God, we're a Christian. We always give God our first tenth of our money. So that means 10% of our income that comes in goes to, God first, right? And that's the principle we live by, and we hope that you do too. And if you don't, we can pray for you, or we can find ways to introduce you to seek out questions there, or you can give us a call as well. So faith is very important with this. Faith is what leads our life, but putting God first gets our finances in order, right? We give him our first tenth, our 10%. The second thing we list out are shelter, our electric, our water, all those core things that it takes to live today. And then if we have any other expenses, we budget for everything, right? Budget for school expenses, we budget for Christmas, we budget for vacations. And what's nice about it is you can plug a little bit of money each way out of every check or income that comes in and place it there. So it's kind of a process that develops over time. But one of the key things that you want to do is really just maybe download the last 3 months of your bank statements. Put it into a spreadsheet, or print it out and highlight it and categorize them and put them in buckets and start understanding where your money goes. It's often said that you can tell by a person's bank account where the heart is, right? So if you have $300 a month going to Starbucks, you must love some Starbucks, right? And that doesn't take long to get there, right? So it's important to understand where your money goes. You want to prioritize the listings of those things that matter the most, right? God, housing, electric, food, taking care of your kids, if you have kids, other giving, wherever those expenses lay, right? So that gives you an understanding of where all the necessary expenses that you must put first goes, right? In saving for the future, especially if you're a homeowner or have a property, you want to put money back for future expenses. When we buy a rental property, we have to make sure that we understand what future expenses that property will incur in the next year or 5 years. We want to have that budgeted into our cash flow in order to understand what will happen the next year when we have a check that we need to cut for $5,000 for a new roof. We have to have that allocated in there to be sure that those expenses are covered when they do happen, right? Christmas surprises people in your personal budgets every year. It sneaks up on people, right? Hey, it's already the mid-September, okay? We're gonna be at Christmas in less than 3 months, right? Or right at 3 months. Are you prepared, right? And it's a simple process. If you do it every month or every check, if you get paid weekly, have that money go to those certain places. And it doesn't matter if it's $2 or $25 or $200, put that money back in those buckets so when those things happen, you're prepared, right? So you should have your spreadsheet filled out with all your expenses, your savings, and you have to make sure you have an emergency fund. Dave talks about this a lot. He talks about paying off all your debt, but a big thing that he talks about is having at least $1,000 of an emergency fund set aside, a bank account you don't touch, it's just there, right? Forget about it. If you need it, emergency, if it's an emergency, not if you need it, if it's an emergency, that $1,000 sitting there ready for you to take advantage of, right? Or utilize if you need it. So when we buy houses now in Tulsa, we budget back money on our properties we buy. We budget back future business expenses or planning expenses, so we have the money set aside. We have to do a lot of advertising in business, so we have to set money back every month for that. We have expenses through employees or different entities that money every month goes out, and we have to budget for that, right? It all goes back to the budget. Like, it's important, you know, everybody gripes about, well, I don't ever use this in school. Well, they don't teach this in school, which is sad, right? Where are you gonna learn it? You have to learn it. If you're ever gonna get your finances in order, you're gonna have to learn how to budget. And it's a simple process. Download your 3 months bank statements, or if you wanna go back for a full year and get a good picture, or if you had a transition of maybe getting married, you know, you wanna be sure to combine your finances, and both parties, heads of households, discuss where the money should go, right? It shouldn't have any, oh, this is my money, this is her money. It's one money. So going back to your personal finances, budget, give God the first tenth, work through your priorities of your living expenses, what other expenses you have, and then if you have a negative number, which in our cool little spreadsheet, once you plug all those things in, it'll tell you if you have a negative or positive number at the bottom. Then you have to make a decision, is my Starbucks fund of $300 a month too much? Or should I put, you know, some of that back for piano lessons or other things, right? Am I saving for Christmas, right? If I cut out 1 month to Starbucks, maybe I have $300 for Christmas. Think about it. Your bank statement tells you where your heart is. So if everything's going through one bank statement, you'll be able to see where all your money goes. Now, I recommend go to our website, topdollarhomeoffer.com, download our spreadsheet. You'll find out all about how we buy houses now in Tulsa. But the point of this video here is really just to help you. If you've never done a budget, you've got questions about a budget, we're happy to answer them. Like, we're in the business of helping people. I mean, that's what we do every day. We buy houses, but what we're doing is help people out of really financial situations, because most of the houses we buy, they're either sick of dealing with this asset that drains money out of their bank account every month, or they don't know what to do with the property, they don't have any money to fix it up. And really, it all goes back to planning with the budget, right? If people planned and had a budget, they wouldn't have a need or any dire circumstances, right? The cool thing, if you start budgeting right, you get that $1,000 of living expenses put back. Then you pay off your debts. This is what Dave recommends. Save 3 months of a living expenses, then 6 months. So if you do lose a job, you have 6 months to live on before you ever have to worry, right? So do yourself a favor. Go download the budget. Find out how we buy houses now in Tulsa. If you have an opportunity or questions or anything you need, give us a call. We're happy to help.